Welcome, everyone, dear Radiant friends, to this month's special Zac Chat, which we've recorded earlier in June ahead of the solstice, which is a moment in time that our dear cosmic friend Zac described earlier in this month's deep dive conversation as the eye of the storm, an energetic climax, one many of us are already sensing in our hearts, in various places around our bodies, and in our energy fields. With all of these, what can only be called humongous waves of solar activity sweeping the planet, and maybe you've also watched the lovely geophysicist Stephen Burns also affirming that we have entered a whole new phase with incredible solar activity. Like me, many of us are also wondering what happens next. How do we stabilize, integrate, and move through this really pivotal turning point with grace and with trust? So over to you. Greetings, dearest Zac. Does this align with what you'd like to speak about? Because we would love to just continue our discussions on this topic as we head towards this time of amplification and the energetic climax that you spoke of. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome, my dears. It is true to say the impact of the solar activity from your own personal sun here in your cuboid, your quadrant of the universe, is so highly impactful at this time, even though discussed both in DP Dive and recent Chitty Chat. There is more that can be said. But more importantly, there is more practicalities to be consumed by you all in ways to not only take in the activation that is coming from it, but to balance your energies. So for doing this, much of what we will refer to as a different hazel, you ask what you need to ask. I would like for all of you to bear in mind the self-mastery that you have already worked upon, not only through all that we have spoken of these many years together, but also what you have been doing in your own life, your own self-mastery of integration with such a turbulent set of energies and frequencies for a number of years now. Truly are in a new era. We have been saying this, have we not, dear friend Hazel? And it is important to continue the work. Now, this may feel like, oh no, Zachariah telling me I've got more work to do. It is not so much that, it is remembering and acknowledging that you are not a victim of your planet. You are part of your planet. You have the self-mastery. You have the ability to move through and come out in a more vibrant, more regenerative, more harmonious, superconscious way. So bearing that in mind, let us begin, my dear.
Well, that was music to our ears, Zac. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And as you know, I have quite a few questions to ask, so maybe we'll have some slightly shorter answers. As like you, I feel there are still so many aspects to discuss that all feel important. So let me start with the first one. And Zac, with the recent G4 class solar storms impacting Earth, how would you say that, well, how exactly do these heightened solar activities influence our personal energy fields and also, very importantly, the collective consciousness?
Let's talk about the highlights, the main points, like a summary. Much of this we discussed in last month's DP Dive. Many people can refer to that for deep insight into how this is. In terms of highlights, on a physical level, this will affect everybody. And this affects people while they are sleeping as well as awake. So not just when they are sensing the solar activity. Now, the solar activity is, of course, a reflecting into your own solar plexus. And this is causing much resonant action throughout the whole energy field and that is manifesting in the physicality. When there is a very, very, very strong impact on the solar plexus, energetically speaking, it promotes vast feelings of survival. And this can bring up feelings of fear, anxiety, lack of control, and so forth. Now, all of these will have a domino effect, both on mental state of being and physical state of being. But remember, all of your major organs are radiating out from your solar plexus. Therefore, this can cause all sorts of problems in terms of digestion, in terms of heart and heart palpitations, heart rate, even in breathing, a feeling of hyperventilation at times when things are moving very fast, or even a feel and a need where the body takes over and deep breathing. We have spoken much of nervous system, therefore I will not talk of that quite this moment. However, there are sites within the solar plexus which correspond to not only within the nervous system but with the neurons in the brain that actually can also bring up feelings of hallucination. Therefore, people can very much not feel themselves. And all of the manifestations that can happen, whether somebody is fit, strong, feeling healthy and vibrant, or they are in a weakened state of injury, disease, or any other, this will impact and make stronger. Therefore, the impact that you are seeing in your world, anything that you are seeing externalized, first comes from the internal. It can make peoples and whole groups of peoples incredibly reactionary. And this is why it is so important during these periods to remember your self mastery. Not to just say, oh, I put this all to the side, I do not feel it, because it is a very real feeling and you are in your body. And we ask you to remain in your body, ground in your body, center in your body. It is important, however, simply to be aware that you could become far more reactionary. And of course, reactions reverberate into your external life, whether this is in close proximity to intimate relationships, family, friends, colleagues, but also to the wider world. You can become incredibly reactionary because you are reacting from the solar plexus. But you could also have confusion, thinking, why am I doing this? Why am I feeling this so strongly? Why am I being this way? Because the gut, as you could say, is overriding the brain and what you are doing. So it is all about coming back to self, but we can talk about how to move through these things so that the reactionary part can be limited as much as possible. Therefore, it is very, very likely in your immediate world, but also in the wide world, we'll see an awful lot of shifts, change, turbulence, which is coming from this inner experience as well. Understand? Yes.
Wow, yes, Zach, that's really reassuring and very helpful. And as you explained the upcoming solstice, this is when we reach this energetic climax. Could you elaborate on this exact moment and how this peak in solar activity intersects with the solstice energies? Also, I'm wondering what specific opportunities and, of course, challenges this will then present for us.
The solstice is a time of reset in both hemispheres. The solstice brings a point of stillness. It is very similar to the point in your out breath when there is a moment before you take an inhalation again. It is not one thing or the other. This is where the solstice has great power. It is not just the energy, the heightened energy of the solar activity. That is what it used to be for many thousands of years. The way the world has evalated, both Gaia, the earth, nature, and people upon it, what you call the Schumann resonance, and all these other things. This is all deeply impactful. However, it is the deep human quality of connecting with the calendar, as it were, with the moment in time, with the solstice, with this part with this breath in between where deep recalibration can happen. And this is to do with collective experience. It is one thing what you do on an individual. May I remind you that as a collective, when peoples are feeling, sensing, doing very similar things, it connects in a vast web of activity. If you could see it in a visual, it would look like vast geometry, sacred geometry, not too dissimilar to the flower of life that you would see from person to person to person. When you have a connection of a similarity, if you think of it as a frequency band, just like a frequency band of emotions, for example, when everybody is feeling happy or joyful, it is a very similar frequency. This joins up, and there is a collective experience which enhances vastly the individual experience. Therefore, upon the solstice, whether people are even aware that there is a solstice happening or not, there is a connection in this point of the in between where you can manifest and promote positivity through that. Maybe put a little note in your calendar for at least 3 to 5 days before and 3 to 5 days after to do as much as you can to promote what your desires for the future are. We are not talking about the details. Oh, I want this house and I want it to look like this and I want this job. No, we are talking about how you want to feel in the future, how you wish things to be in the future. Do you wish to be happy? Do you wish to be collaborative? Do you wish for there to be good things for all the young people upon the earth? All of these things connect up, and the energy that has been pulsing, this vast energy through the solar plexus connects deeply with the sacral, only just a little bit below it, which is your seat of power. And do not forget your power point. All manner of different names within you resides here as well. And even though you may have been experiencing vast levels of discomfort on different levels, the payback is this wondrous energy of formation forming through many, many peoples. And through that, your plugged in power has the vast intensity to set in motion potentials for huge, wondrous things for the future. Understand? Yes.
Can you expand on those huge, wondrous things for the future?
Ah, now this is where the self mastery comes in. This is why we say be careful what you are thinking. If around that time you watch a lot of things, think a lot of things that are all about maybe dystopian futures, your worries, concerns for the economy, the ecology, all of these different things, what are you putting out into the future? You are saying, this is the future I expect. So we're not talking that you are saying, oh, I want to manifest it, but you are saying you are expecting it.
Mhm.
However, if instead you push yourself through your self mastery to not be sucked in by things and telling yourself, well, logically, this is a reality, blah, 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 but you say, no, the universe has the solutions. The solution is me. The solution is energy. The solution is how we act rather than react. And you focus on how the future can be. This is where you set the energy and you shift timelines, you shift potentials. That is why I say don't go into the detail, because you could be completely discombobulated and then worry that you haven't put something in there. Oh no, I was only thinking of the economy, not the ecology, for example. Instead, put forward how you wish people to feel relaxed, secure, happy, how you wish nature to be thriving, how you wish the harvest to be, how you wish even down to the climate to be. And I do not mean to say dry, wet, whatever, but to say that it supports growth on earth, feeding all here on earth, all these types of things. And
Mm.
then that is the future that you are promoting. So, although we could say, what does this look like? What I would say, because everybody has an imagination and wanders the lanes of wonder where you can think and work through problems without manifesting them, is actually look and see, well, actually, if this is that making us all very reactionary, I need to be more understanding when people's groups, other things are happening, and rather than react myself. Let us bring in what we always say, kindness, grace, fortitude. This is the time, mention fortitude many, many times. This is where your self mastery comes in to be able to hold yourself through it and on the other side, because the energy that has been brought in is bringing in this new era, the new era that has been spoken of, we've talked of, and there have been levels coming in. But now the solar energy is backing it up with measurable energy. And this disrupts not only within self, within the planet, within different things, but even within your atmosphere. Even people feeling maybe getting more electric shocks and so forth, this type of thing, because the electromagnetic field is all in a bit of a pickle at the moment. You understand?
Yes, absolutely, Zach. That's so inspiring, and it made me think that perhaps all of us listening can write something in the comments, and we can all share our dreams and our hopes for the future, what we wish to create, and we can allow the breakdown of the old to take place, but actually remember to put our focus on exactly what we wish to create together. And I think it's inspiring reading everyone's comments. Each person is inspiring another, and together we are co-creating our new world, aren't we?
Absolutely. And each comet is the universe speaking, because you are all the universe. So
Yeah.
you're getting different perspectives, different aspects from throughout the universe just
Mm.
by what people are sharing. And in your modern way, this would be through comments and so forth. But
Yeah.
wouldn't it be a shame if your world and humanity and all of nature and your whole keyboard of the universe went through such a huge era and such a breakdown of destruction that you all felt you could not manifest something better, but actually continued the destruction with
Mm.
your manifestations?
Mm.
This is why it is so important not to put blinkers on and not to see the reality of many different potential futures. Take them in, make note of them, but put your focus and energy on what you feel would be for the betterment for all. Okay? Understand? Yes?
Oh, totally. I really love this idea. And also, I think most of the people watching you, listening to you already understand that there needs to be let's just call it a removal of the old ways so that we can start building the new. And you've always said that it's better rather than a collapse for there to be it to be more gradual and then a gradual build up too. I'm quite interested, bearing in mind that you've spoken about this solstice being the eye of the storm, the energetic climax. Will the whole of 25, solar cycle 25, continue with ongoing bursts of intensity this year?
There will be, but this is the biggie.
Okay.
After this, energy system will have settled and aligned and have a resonance. You'll be in the new bracket of the energy frequency of the new era, so that as the solar activity carries on, the physical intensity will be a lot less. Bodies will have got used to it, been able to move through it, upgraded, you could say, through it as well. All these things that we talked of in Deep Dive and recent Chit Chat.
Mm.
Therefore, the moving through, this is the great intensity. And as you said, my dear, often we have spoken of the reason a complete and utter collapse in one go, like get it out of the way, is just too much for
Mm.
humanity to cope with. Even this, which is very, very strong, however, triggers the most deepest survival part of you, will see we are expecting quite a lot of reactionary, as we said, things happening in personal life and bigger life. And therefore, it has to be moved through at a pace that people can cope with, people can actually take. But this is about as intense as it gets in to do with the solar. If the energy was coming in and not being reflected within your solar plexus, for example, if it was being reflected in the third eye, everybody would be starting just suddenly seeing other dimensions and all sorts, and it'd be very discombobulating. Or if it was with the heart, the hospitals will be full of people thinking they are having heart issues the whole time. So this is very discombobulating, very difficult, very physical, very energetic, very reactionary, what is happening with the solar plexus. But it is something that can be moved through. Knowing it can help. And of course, shall we talk, my dear, regarding the practicalities of what to do?
Yes, yes, please do.
So again, please revisit DP Dive, and Recent Chat spoke of practical solutions there. We are going to bring in absolute top highlights here.
Mm.
Remove yourself as much as you can when you are feeling very strong activity. If you are living in a family or group and you think, well, how am I going to do that? Just take yourself off into another room, even for 10 minutes, 20 minutes or so. Your energy field, when it is being prodded, when it is being reacted in such a way, grows vast, and you will be recalibrating and coming into resonance with others around. So you can imagine if their energy is not quite fitting or is not quite stable, or they are also being affected, then you will have even stronger. So first of all, take yourself off when you can. Remember to ground. Ground and center is so incredibly important because the earth is ahead of you. The earth and the Schumann resonance, that is something that is measured that people know, but there are many other energy frequencies within the earth that will be impacted and is already ahead of time. So you can stabilize and align in that way as well. Imagine your energy field being pulled in. You may already be quite prolific in working with your energy field, and others may not. So do it in whatever way is right for you. If you are not, just imagine that there is a vastness and that there is a, maybe think of it like a glowing like a light around you, and pull it in. Not completely into the body because that is not healthy, but closer to you, maybe only 6 inches or so from your body, just while you are stabilizing. Also, tell yourself that all is well. All is well, and that you are aligning to the sun. Even imagine or look at a picture of the sun and imagine that it is there and it is warming you, nurturing you, all the good things that you are wanting for it. If you can at all during this time, take some extra time for rest and for sleep. Now we know that insomnia is very, very prevalent at this time. So when you are trying to sleep, actively intend to connect with the goddess moon. You may not think of her as a goddess, you may just think of her as a big rock in the sky. And that is fine too. Imagine the moon. The moon is the counterpoint and is the quickest thing to be able to stabilize you, to allow you to drop through the different realms into the level of sleep that is regenerative and not still being triggered. Many people are waking up more tired because they are still connecting with the sun. So do actively intend to connect with the moon to help you with this as well. Now, some other things that can be very useful, of course, is eating well, but lightly, my dears. Lots and lots of fluid. Remember, your digestive organs are being very, very impacted. So be kind to digestion during this time. Eat very lightly if you can, but very grounding. If you do eat meat, now is the time to eat some good quality meat and other such things, which will help with the grounding too. And most importantly, take some time for self. Be in nature if you can. If you do not like nature, some people do not like nature. Take yourself into something that brings you restoration, and comfort. That is the most important thing. Allow yourself to know that you are safe. You are simply going through a quickening, a heightening, and it does take time for the body to respond because ultimately your solar plexus was designed to pick up on that which is trying to get into you. And this is getting into you. But you need to know that this is actually where your body is going to. And the more that you have time to be able to rest into it, to not resist it, the quicker you'll come through. However, you are getting this pow, 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 pow of energy. And you may get some relief of those days around solstice, as we say before and after, just like the breath in, breath out, as we discussed. And then there may be a little bit more impact afterwards, but the heightened, the strength of it is right now. Even my dear, as we are speaking today, which is quite early on in the month, but there is a powerful, powerful, powerful resonance coming. And one of the things that can also be done is actually going out and being with the sun. Even on a cloudy day, the sun is there. So if you're feeling it very, very strongly as well, and none of these things are helping, actually go out and just say, I welcome you in. Just that very act of welcoming the energy in is very, very useful for aligning to it. Understand?
Mm.
Yes.
Oh, that's so helpful, Zac. And it's wonderful to understand that nothing's wrong. You've already said we're ahead of things. So this is really helping us as part of the universe to build our capacity to the frequencies and the vibrations that we're going to be living in the future, isn't it?
Absolutely. And one of the points to live in that future is self mastery. We have been asking you for self mastery for a long time. And like a childless school, we have been building up, building up. Now, people have got it. People
Yeah.
have got it. We can pass on to you and say, remember, during this time, activate your self mastery within. Know you have the power. Know you are the universe. Know that the sun is affecting you because you have a sun literally within you. Know that you can always come out stronger, better, vital than before. Have
Mm.
faith in yourself and your body and your energy, and have faith in humanity that everybody really truly desires something that is pretty much the same for everybody.
Mm.
They want to be joyful, they want the lightness in life, and they want things to be even better for their children and their children. When people share that desire of a betterment into the future, well, how else could it be? So people have to really activate their self mastery, move away from the but what ifs, what ifs. Yes, those what ifs may happen, will happen because you live in a world that will always have a level of polarization, black and white, night and day, that will always have a little bit of a push point. But the most important thing is not worrying about it before it happens, but as things happen, know you have the self mastery to do what is right for you and also right for others at any given time. Understand? Yes.
Oh, wow. Yes. Thank you, Zac. Thank you, as always, for all of your clarity, your kindness, and your reassuring cosmic calm. And thank you all of you who are listening to us, for all of your curiosity into how to evalate and how to support yourself and inspire others to stay really steady through this phase as we approach the solstice and feel the intensity of this solar crescendo. Remember, we're not alone. We are ahead. We are calibrating for our future, and we are more prepared than we realize. And Zac, I'm sure you have a few final words to say as well.
Just to say, this is not just affecting you on Earth. Everything that keeps everything stable on your world, the electromagnetic film, as it were, that is around, everything is subject to change due to the solar activity. Therefore, as well as everything that you are feeling, do not be surprised if there are shifts and changes and things that you feel, even in your technology and other. And do not feel, oh no, Armageddon is here, things aren't working, things are strange things are happening in the sky. This is all to do with electromagnetic activity, even how people saw the auroras and other far further south a few months ago. You'll see and you may see strange things coming from the sky, but know that there is a, a, a shift and a change that is happening. But the most important thing, and this is why I've left it just to the last, the thing that stabilizes this the most is human beings, believe it or not. It is nature. Uh, However, human beings have a unique ability that animals do not have of connecting with each other and having similar feelings at similar times. Even though this is a difficult phase in terms of your physicality and how you may be feeling, you are all having a very similar experience. This joins up, remember, as I say, like the flower of life. This spreads out this energy, this grid, and has the ability to help stabilize, not just to put it all okay and everything's fine, but certainly to stabilize what's happening. So, not only for you, for the planet, for humans, for nature, but actually for your cosmos. Stay
Wow.
in the heightened way of being, and this will help. Understand?
Wow, Zach, that's so important. And for those of you who really resonate here with Zach, please share this message with others that you know, because it does feel as though we all have a very important part to play, a very important part to play. Thank you so much for sharing that, Zach. And perhaps next time we could go into some of the other seismic activity that's taking place within our planet and help people to understand that as well. So
Good,
for
good.
love from all of us. Bye for now. Bye bye, Zach. We love you loads. Bye bye for now.
Goodbye, my dears. Goodbye.
Bye.